Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kenco F1 once again, and today we're in the beautifully sunny France at the circuit de Paul Ricard. We're just starting the qualifying one session here in the beautiful south of France. One of the drivers is actually out on the inter tires. That is Joel Foxall. I think maybe just running him in. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe a bit of a publicity stunt, but as we do go to see Joel. Joel Foxall on the inter tires. I don't know what's going on there.
No, hello everyone, welcome to France. As Callum said, Joel seems to be going for a very unique strategy in qualifying this week. This Racing Point team, very, very ambitious, as we know. Joel going for something different once again.
I mean, we'll go on board with him. We've seen him do this one. Well, sorry, I apologize. We haven't seen this do this before. He has done it, but we didn't catch it. And in a a post-race interview, he was like, "Did you see me go out on the inters?" And we were like, "No, we did not see you." But today, Joel, we did see you on the inter tires. And wow, green marks just fit that. Check that. Check the pink and the green. They work together really well.
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, this team now Aston Martin in 2021. We saw the release of the new Aston Martin livery with both green and pink featured on it, so it works quite well this weekend. And yeah, Joel's come into the pits after his inter run.
All barring one, well, livery reveal, as we would call it. I mean, unfortunately, Williams obviously got leaked today, and so did the Aston Martin, but all but one livery has been revealed so far, and you said before, the Alfa Romeo was your favourite. Does that still stand? I mean, obviously, the Ferrari would just assume it's very similar to this year's livery.
I don't know, honestly. I think that the Aston Martin is very nice. I really like the Mercedes personally. I think the black on the Mercedes suits it so well. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what my favorite is. I think it would probably be the McLaren livery.
Yeah, well, I mean, the McLaren it stayed the same to last year, didn't it? Really, but you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. I think it's a great evolution of a great livery, and they didn't need to change it, so they didn't. And yeah, it's a great livery. I think.
Right, so the other inter runner is coming to the pits. That's either Torben Chut or Charlie. Yeah, that's Charlie Torben Chut. Also in the inters, we saw him go into the pits as well. I think that may be a bit of a publicity stunt by those two drivers.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, trying to get some time on those intermediate tyres. I'm hearing from the weather radars that it's going to be a dry weekend overall. It's going to be a dry race by the looks of it. How long that dry spell lasts, so I don't know. But at the moment, it's dry and qualifying. Very, very nice and sunny, as you said, in France over the Paul Ricard circuit at the moment.
Yeah, here we see Salaman, Widdowson's teammate. Widdowson's currently in P1. In P3 is Robbie Welsh. Obviously, his driver number hasn't... Oh, sorry, he's now down into P4, but his driver number is not fixed. I'm not sure what the cause of that is, but we have seen it in the past where the leaderboard doesn't work as it normally does.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is just one of those things with this virtual running of a Formula One series. But yeah, we've got Max Chapman in P1 now with a 1:28.5, some 1.5 seconds faster than that of the Red Bull driver of Andre in P2 at the moment. So yeah, our usual very fast driver Max Chapman in P1 once again.
And yeah, well, you said Chapman's in P1, but can he retain it? He's 1.4 seconds in front, and we've got word that, well, in sort of the grand scheme of things, if we look at the sort of time trial times he's been saying, he is 200th in the world at this track. So a very good track for him indeed.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be some very fierce competition between Max Chapman today because he's just so fast, as you said. Top 200 in the world. So yeah, some very fast times we've seen from Max Chapman in the practice, and some of the best in the world.
Yeah, well, last week there was only 2 people that could be eliminated. This week is 3, and all of the teams, actually this week it's a sort of test run, have been forced to run the ABS off option for the qualifying session. So it's going to really pick apart those who know their braking zones.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to really pick apart those that are more sensible on the brakes and not. It's quite tricky on the F1 game around certain corners with ABS off. So it's going to be a real challenge for them, but no doubt that issue will be fixed by the race, hopefully.
Well, it's not really an issue, but I think the FAA and Pirelli, obviously, new tire compounds for the next year, and they're just trying to test things and see how the waters fare.
Yeah, definitely. The FIA are always testing new things, whether it be for the racing or for safety. I know that the FIA released their safety document today about the Roman Grosjean crash in Bahrain,
What
and
did
they
that
are
entail?
making
Yeah.
they're making lots of changes in what the driver's cockpit looks like and that of the marshal's safety equipment as well to improve F1. So obviously that's really good news for the world of F1 in real life, but also the FIA this weekend in our virtual series. They're trying something different with the ABS. So they're always making changes in F1.
An unexpected man up at the top today, Hartley. We've said we said how much he's just grown as a driver. I mean, back in Monaco, he obviously won. It was not the most lucky of circumstances, but luck definitely did play into it, and I think that's been the case with a few of the wins this year. And then also we also look at Azerbaijan. The week after that, he got P4, sorry, P2 in Azerbaijan, I think it was. And then obviously the natural progression would be P3, but then last week he came P4 in Canada, which, I mean, is not far off P3, and that's really good for him, and he's currently sitting in the not the pole position, that is Joel Foxhall, but in P3 is, again, Dylan Hartley.
Yeah, definitely. Dylan Hartley, we've seen some really, really good racing and qualifying from him. He's a really strong driver, and in the last few races, as you said, that's really come out. So it's really good to see that he's been able to fight at the front of the field. As you said, that really great win in Monaco still sticks to my mind as, there's luck is involved in every single driver's race. So obviously luck played on his part on that race, but also he was in the right place at the right time. So you have to give him that as well. So yeah, a really good driver, and I'm so glad he's developing as the league goes on.
Yeah, we do notice that the noises coming through the microphones on track are a little bit quiet. We'll get that turned up in between the break, but currently we're on board with Joel Fox, so he'll probably come into the pits. He's got 3 yellow sectors, which normally means he's on a cooldown lap. So, I mean, we've seen the drivers on cooldown laps before getting in the way of other drivers, and how is that going to affect them? Obviously, when they're coming into the pits, we see Joel with a massive 4-tyre lockup.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Sector 2 around Paul Ricard is quite tricky, so it's quite easy for these drivers to get backed up in the final sector and potentially compromise potentially compromise lap times. So yeah, that is something definitely we could see, but hopefully with the amount of runoff we have around this Paul Ricard track, quite controversially as well, they'll be able to get out of the way in time.
Yeah, I mean, up in the top, with this new ABS function, it's going to be interesting who's on pole, with the likes of Max Chapman not normally running the ABS off function, and evidently Joel Foxhall quite a bit quicker with it off.
Yeah, definitely. Joel, this might really play into his hands this weekend. Obviously, as you said, Chapman not used to running that certain setting. The FIA has sprung that up on these drivers today. It's a real challenge, and it's all about now fighting that challenge and who can react best to it. There's nothing the drivers can do about it now. They've just got to adapt as the session goes on.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many factors that play into a Formula 1 race, and one of them definitely is track conditions, and the track conditions are going to be evolving definitely around here. We see Max Chapman with a big lockup into turn 5, and how is the track condition really going to affect this? Because it's such a straight and narrow track within the actual track bounds. Obviously, there's a lot of runoff, like you said, but it's all the dust clearly blows off the track, and that means there's not as much grip for the driver. So how will the track conditions really play into today?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, as with most tracks around the F1 calendar, the track evolves as more lap times are set, and therefore it gets faster. So you really want to be out at the very end of the session to try and get your lap time in, because that is when the track will be in its peak condition. So the drivers will be aiming for that. Obviously, they're all on their first runs at the moment, so it doesn't really matter sort of when you come out in that aspect. But when they come out for their final run, they're going to want to have the track in the best condition as Max Chapman's been.
Yeah, Matt Chapman really not handling these track conditions well, but he also, if I can get my words out properly, he's also been trialing the also traction control off function for today. So he's going to be a little bit quicker through the corners, obviously, evidently by his faster sector 2, but definitely less grippy on the older, softer tyres.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's good to see that these drivers are adapting their driving styles, obviously trying to improve, trying to get the best out of themselves, and the fact that Max Chapman has chosen to go off traction control this weekend is really good. He's obviously really pushing himself, even though he's so strong in the league, and he's still at the top. So we'll have to see what difference that will make to his weekend. Looks like he's slightly struggling at the moment, but maybe just getting used to the current track conditions, as we said earlier.
Yeah, so do you think Chapman's in a chance today, or is this really Foxhole's race to lose?
I don't know. As we said at the start, Chapman is incredibly fast around this track. He's obviously trying a different setup in his traction control settings, which you can control in the F1 2020 game, but not in real life. He's obviously trying something different this weekend. He's gonna be pushing really hard. Max Chapman is such a strong driver. He's an incredible qualifier, one of his best aspects, in my opinion. And Joel's really great as well. Um, one of his strongest tracks, I believe, is France. So we'll have to see. It could be a close battle, but we're still in Q1 at the moment. There's 5 minutes left of the session. We'll have to see whether Chapman can improve on these small mistakes he's making in the first session.
We'll go now look to the bottom of the field. Obviously, with 5 minutes remaining, that's probably enough time for 2 laps if they're quick in the pit stop. And two of the drivers who are looking to get out and will definitely be struggling with the traction. Sorry, not the traction. The ABS off function is Forbes and O'Mara, both the McLaren boys. O'Mara obviously bringing up his own last week and getting his first points of the season, but. How is that going to help his ego? Forbes is 1.4 seconds slower than Foxhole. It just really shows how big that skill gap is in that midfield. But nevertheless, Forbes is out of that elimination zone if he does improve by that much. But we see O'Mara and Forbes. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, we did say O'Mara's gain of points may influx him into a sort of stronger position for this week and maybe looking to get more points or be on the front foot a bit more. So how's that going to affect his race this week?
Yeah, definitely. As you said, we saw a great sight last week, in my opinion, in that Josh got his first points, and not only 1 point, he got two. So it's really good to see that Josh in that McLaren did get those first points of his in the league thus far. That's definitely going to boost his confidence. One of the biggest achievements you can make in Formula One is getting those World Championship points. So that's most definitely going to boost his confidence, and hopefully, even with the challenge he's faced at the moment with the lack of ABS. Then I think it will definitely boost his confidence. He's just got to get into the right frame of mind, not to let the ABS thing get into his head, and yeah, just drive the fastest he possibly can.
Well, we've seen both 17 and 18 really struggling with the tire compounds, and we saw both O'Mara and Forbes losing all of their time in the last sector. They've gone quicker in sector 1 and sector 2, and then in sector 3 they've gone yellow. And O'Mara and Forbes are gonna have to get into the pits as soon as they can. I mean, the lap times around here 120s, late 120s, early 130s, and I don't know, there's 3 minutes left in the session. That's definitely enough for them to get in, but they've got to make sure that the cars are spaced, otherwise the drivers are not going to have time to come out simultaneously.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the final 8 from P12 to P18. Sorry, that's not 8. That's 6 from P12 to P18 are currently out on track. Obviously, trying to secure that position in Q2. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be a challenge. Obviously, there's only 2 drivers missing this week, so there'll be 3 people eliminated from Q1. So they've got to get those those lap times as best as possible and propel themselves into Q1. Sorry, Q2.
Yeah, Q2 is where it all counts this track, because the weather report isn't really decisive. What did it say on your computer, son?
On my radar and talking to a few drivers, it said that the session is going to be dry. As you can see, there's not many clouds in the air. It's a beautiful blue sky at the moment over the circuit. So yeah, I think it's going to stay dry for the rest of qualifying. And with the race, I think it's going to be dry for the majority of it as well. Have to see how that progresses throughout it though. But that's on Sunday. We're focusing on today.
Yeah, well, I mean, nevertheless, conditions really play a lot into it, with last week's qualifying being in the wet, and that meant that every single driver on the grid got the free tyre choice, and that meant Max Chapman could extend as long as he could, put under the second safety car, and eventually come into that P3 position. We talked to him after the race, and he said this. Just quoting him now, he said, "It was unfortunate this strategy didn't work. However, we thought that pitting under the second safety car would give us the tyre life and a safety stop that we needed. So those are the words of Max Chapman, and after his teammate got the win and he got P3, I think they were delighted with themselves, splitting themselves by 1 position.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, that strategy with Max Chapman last week was an interesting one. As you said, the wet qualifying session really threw all the strategies into the air. But yeah, Max Chapman obviously decided to go much longer on his stint, and whether or not that played off is up to the Alfa Romeo team. But the fact that they're happy with P1 and P3 is good. But I'm sure they would have been even happier with P1 and P2.
One driver really struggling is Robbie Welsh here, using the runoff because of a lockup into the turn 8, turn 9 chicane complex on his in-lap. And it's good to see the drivers once again using the runoff, but he's normally up in the top sections, and obviously struggling with ABS off.
Yeah, definitely. Robbie Welsh, one of our really promising drivers in the league. Been fighting right at the top of the field. Not so much in Canada. I think he was struggling with tyre wear there, but in P9 at the moment, obviously secure by the looks of it to get into Q2 at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out with hopefully faster tyres from those behind him.
Yeah, and down at the bottom, Amara's just had a spin into Sector 1, and it's not looking too grand for him. And his teammate up in P17 has the only... Sorry, not Amara... Yes, no, his teammate down here, P18, is in the pits. He's not going to have an option to come out. Josh is not going to improve, but Ben, unless he can make it to the line in the next couple seconds, will not be able to set that lap. And he comes and he crosses the line and once again beats the flag. So... Mitchell is going to be fighting for that position in qualifying too.
Definitely, he's also behind this Red Bull. He may be able to get a tow down the straight towards turn 8 and 9, that tricky little chicane at the end of quite a long straight, which is divided by that chicane. But we'll have to see whether this Red Bull hampers his lap or gives him the tow.
We'll go on board and leave you to the silent sounds of the Mercedes power unit. What a unit that power is, but nonetheless, I'll stop with my dad jokes. And he crosses the line and goes safe. Beautiful stuff there from Ben to save himself for the Q2 position. That's going to be him because Widdowson is safe. Rinser is in the pits and is finished. So that is your qualifying 1, lady boys. I don't know. I don't know what I was trying to say there. I think I meant... Forget I said anything. Right, ladies and gentlemen, after that eventful ending, we're here in the qualifying two session. I just need to change some settings because you did see my did see the things coming on. Here we go, and we'll turn off the notifications. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got that, and I think we're ready for qualifying two. Are you ready for qualifying two, sir?
Yeah, I think I am after a great ending to Q1 with the Mercedes driver Ben Mitchell securing himself, which was a good lap from him. Really good stuff.
Good stuff for him to get into qualifying two. It's not someone that is always the most consistent. Pick my words right. He's definitely up there with the midfield drivers. He's up there with the likes of Archie and James, who isn't actually participating today. But it's just I think it's consistency which he lacks, and it's a real shame when a driver has the ability but not the consistency.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen him getting some really good battles in the race. So he's obviously got that really good racecraft, which is good to see. And obviously, that is the most important thing, really. Obviously, you get the points in the race, you don't get the points in qualifying. So it's great to see that he has that confidence during the race. Just potentially not just not got that raw pace around every track, but he's obviously looking strong around France at the moment, being able to secure that position in Q2. We'll have to see whether he can get into Q3 or if he decides that Q2 is best off for him with that free tyre choice.
Yeah, we're talking about the tyre choice right now, and the top 10, except for Charlie and both the Renaults and also the Red Bull of Muster, they are all on the medium tyres, and obviously the four which I listed are on the softs. So whether that is a strategy to get into the top qualifying session under the no ABS settings, or whether that is more of a longevity thing, which the the medium tire runners are running.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, as you said, with the lack of the ABS system in the qualifying session, there is that it's much more likely that you'll lock up. So that's obviously much harder wearing on those tires. So using the medium tire could be your best bet. But I do think it's more of a race strategy in that. Obviously, medium tires, the harder wearing tire. Starting on the softs, never a good idea around heavy tire wear tracks, which France is. So majority of the drivers sensibly going for their runs on the medium tyres.
We're on board with Dylan Hartley. We're talking through for the first talk through of this qualifying session. We saw him just there through the turn 11, long winding mid-speed corner. He pulled 6 Gs through there for a sustained amount for about 5 seconds, and that's just ridiculous. Obviously, these drivers do not have a G suit. You think of a fighter jet, they're pulling they're pulling vertical Gs. You think of a Formula 1 car, you think it's the same, but they're actually pulling lateral Gs, which you can't really train for. So
No, definitely not.
so
No,
these
I
drivers
agree.
don't have a suit, they don't have anything to keep them. It's just the strength of their muscles, and obviously we see them doing a lot of neck training. So just how difficult is it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I've never had the pleasure of driving a real F1 car, but I can imagine it's incredibly difficult. As you said, the F1 driver is quite unique to motorsport. They train their necks so hard just because of those Gs that they experience going around a lap at such incredible speed. So yeah, it's a real challenge for the F1 drivers. And people say F1's not a sport, but it very much is. It's incredibly demanding on the human body.
Yeah, and also on the mind as well, as Torben Schutt on the soft tyres puts himself in P1, and Joel Foxall behind him on the medium tyres, I believe, is in P2. So, good pace there from the Racing Point. We said it from the start of today's session that he may be the one to watch, and he definitely at the moment is the one, well, the one with a chance. And again, on the soft tyres, the Renault goes into P2.
Yeah, definitely. With that lap being on the medium tyres from Joel, that's very impressive. Just 6 tenths off a soft runner in P1. So some really good pace from him, yeah.
And Hartley comes down towards the finish straight, and he goes across the line to set a 130.5, and that's fifth for the AlphaTauri driver, behind 3 soft tyre runners, currently the second medium tyre runner, so a really good lap from him. But man down in P9, who has not currently set on time, is Titan, going wide here through the final couple turns.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Titan in the Ferrari on those medium tyres, unlike his teammate. He's coming into the pits by the looks of it. Not happy with that out lap by the looks of it. Not getting the tyres into the window potentially. or maybe even wanting to change the tyres after seeing that lap time from his teammate.
Yeah, and down towards the final couple of turns comes P11 Ben Mitchell. He just squeezed in by the barest of margins, and we've seen him do that quite a few times. There's quite a few times that he's come in and he's going into the pits. All of the drivers coming into the pits, maybe not happy with the medium tyre set.
No, definitely not. Obviously, Ben in P11 at the moment has set that time on a medium tyre, so he is just outside that Q3 position. Obviously, trying to get into Q3 as well. He's got that mindset that he can get into Q3 because otherwise, you wouldn't really do the run on the medium tyres because you'd normally be going on the softs, which is the faster tyre. But potentially, he could go out for another run. Maybe we'll get on those soft tyres if he's that desperate to get into Q3.
All of these drivers coming into the pits, and as you come into the pits, you hear the whine of the pit lane alarm that tells all of the teams that a driver's either entering the pits or exiting the pits. You hear that there as we go past, and it's a little bit annoying, but I think it's a bit of a safety feature that, well, it's France, they're always on strike, so they don't have marshals to tell people when to go and when to not, evident by the Ferrari that definitely just crashed into the AlphaTauri. But nonetheless, the drivers come into the pits, which is an interesting strategy. But one man coming out the pits is the Ferrari of Torben, not Torben, Ferrari of Titan. We did go on board with him for a momentary second, but he also came to the pits. He comes back out on the medium tyres. Is this more of a fuel-saving method to come into the pits after every hot lap, or is it more of a track condition where they can change the front aero or the differential? We see him, interestingly, cutting the turn 3 chicane with no intention of really slowing down there. That may be something the stewards look at, but interesting strategies there from the Ferrari team, maybe to get extra laps in, and in the end, that may actually hamper whatever time they get.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I'd also like to point out is how dark the track suddenly looks. It seems like the weather has really changed. Whether or not we're going to see some rain in a few moments, we'll have to see. But considering we can see how these clouds have rolled in and how dark the track has now become, Titan and Thomas Salomon in P14 and P15 are going to be desperate to get a lap on those dry tires because this could be their last opportunity to get them on the dry tires.
Well, I mean, definitely in that situation, you come out on the softs, but Titan has come out on the mediums, and so has the Haas of Salomon. So, what is going through their minds right now? Do they think that it's enough? The coverage is enough that they have enough time to get around on the medium tires, or not? But as we said, the stewards may invalidate or reprimand the lap of Titan purely for his previous lap's actions.
Yeah, definitely. Whether that happens or not will be after the session, no doubt. But yeah, obviously Titan on those medium tyres, really trying to get into Q3 on those mediums. Obviously, really wanting to start his race on those medium tyres. Obviously, a good strategic position for the Ferrari team. Will it be if they can start on the medium tyres? So he's going to be desperate to get this run in just before it could potentially rain. I mean, who knows whether it will, but it looks very much like it could at the.
Yeah, let's talk about the drivers in the bottom 5. There's obviously, in qualifying 10 progressed through to the next stage, and 5 of the drivers currently behind 2 of them on an outlap. Sorry, 3 of them on an outlap and 2 of them on a hot lap. Titan and Salomon currently attempting to better their times, and P11, P12, and P13 are all at risk, but are starting their hot laps. P13, Ben Mitchell, we saw him just by the barest of margins once again get in number 32. He has enough time to get through. Salomon goes up to P11, but it's not good enough to go up to P10. But all of the drivers on softs are apparently ruining their race, says the Alfa Romeo garage. 2 of them currently being the Renault and the Renault, the Red Bull, and the Ferrari up in P2, P3. Sorry, P2, P2, P1, P2, and P4. I can't get my words out today. And yeah, one of the drivers who is doing such is on an outlap, trying to rectify their mistake on the medium tyres, but I don't think they're going to be able to beat their time.
No, definitely not. It's getting very close with the last 5. Obviously, Titan managed to get to P6, promoting himself to P6, so that's going to be enough for him as it stands at the moment. Obviously, 5 minutes left in the session, so still plenty of time for new times to come in, but we'll have to see whether this rain that could potentially come will affect any of them.
Well, France is definitely known for being like England in that it turns the weather in the flip of a second. 4 seasons in one day is what they normally say. It could be winter, it could be summer, it could be spring or autumn, it could be any of the weather conditions from hailing and thunderstorms to bright sunny and cloudy 1 minute afterwards. And Hanmore does not look like he's going to improve his time down in P11.
No, not at the moment. Obviously, with Hanmore, he's a pretty strong driver, as we said. With similar to his teammate, it's about that consistency factor. He obviously was very, very strong, if I recall, in Zandvoort. It was one of his best races. Obviously, not successful in getting a podium that weekend. I really thought he was going to, but was involved in a few incidents, I think, and also the strategy didn't quite play out. But in P12 at the moment, gonna start another lap by the looks of it on those medium tries in a bid to get through into Q3.
Yeah, and obviously he talked about him not having the consistency, but in Netherlands, if we just cast our mind back, I think it was due to an incident that occurred with one of them Mercedes coming. Sorry, not one of the Mercedes, one of the McLarens coming through the last couple corners, and unfortunately that meant he lost his front wing portion, and he was on a flyer. He set the soft tires, and he was about to set the fastest lap.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about um, different circumstances in F1. You know, it could be a completely different story. Really good to see for him. He's going to really try his hardest to get into Q3, no doubt, today.
Well, Q3 is the aim, and he's coming through the last couple corners. He's gone down in the first couple sectors. He's gonna go again, I think, on the medium tires. He's behind his teammate, who may be trying to give him a tow. He's down in last position, his teammate, but he's in 12th, and he can't improve his time this lap to be out of the elimination zone. But 1 lap, do you think he can do it in 1 more lap?
Potentially, these medium tires are now 3 laps old and will be 4 laps old by the time he's finished this current lap. So they're getting pretty worn. Obviously, during the race, they're not they don't get as worn as during qualifying, because in qualifying you're going flat out. But as you said, maybe his Mercedes teammate may be helping him out, but looks like he's actually spun. So he'll be getting no tow coming up towards turn 8 and turn 9.
And once again, we'll go silent on board the Mercedes power unit. Oh, Ian, what are you doing? Going off the track. Come on, my man. That's going to invalidate his lap. We said he had 1 more lap to do it. I suppose it's another.
Yeah, definitely. He might have to go round once again. He's really struggling at the moment to get round the lap. I'm not sure if he's picked up any damage. Looks like his front wing is intact. But is he going to come into the pits, or is he going to try again? He's coming into the pits. There won't be enough time for another lap, unfortunately. So he will not be getting to Q3 today.
One man who might be on a lap is Widdowson. He's coming through on his outlap. He's got 1 minute to make it. Go ahead and talk us through your strategy. If you have 1 minute to get to the line, you're about halfway through. You're in sector 2, coming towards the chicane. What are you doing?
Well, it's a bit of a fight for time. Obviously, it's dependent on whether he comes up towards traffic. As we said earlier, you want to have a good distance between the driver in front of you, because you don't want to get that dirty air going through the tricky Sector 3 section of the Paul Ricard circuit. You don't want dirty air going through there, but you also sort of want to tow coming up towards turn 8 and 9 because of that really long straight. So it's a fine balance, but you definitely want to have a decent gap in front of you. Looks like coming through turn 11 here, he's looking pretty decent at the moment in terms of time. About 20 seconds to get to the line. I'm sure he'll be able to do it in time.
Right, we'll go ahead and talk him. We'll go ahead and talk through his lap. Obviously, one of the more new drivers. Bit of a nuanced track this here, Paul Ricard. But 3 Gs through the final corner, not too impressive. But these drivers can sustain anywhere up to 9 Gs, and he's gonna beat the line once again. Oh no, he hasn't beat the line. Just by the barest of margins, Widdowson is stuck there, and again, by the barest of margins, everybody is out of the qualifying 2 session. So our drivers going through, the Ferraris, the Red Bull, the Renaults, both the Renaults, the Williams, both the Alfa Romeos, and the singular Alpha Tauri going through into the top alongside Joel Foxhall, who on the mediums, or next session on the softs, could be the man to watch. But Widdowson seems to be continuing on his lap regardless of the conditions. But we'll go ahead and we'll remain on board with him just in case the lap does count. But on our screens, he is definitely out of this session.
Yeah, the timing screams has been known to deceive us previously, so I think riding on board with him is a good idea. Obviously, in P11, he's so close to getting into Q3. Obviously, running on those soft tyres at the moment, so whether or not that plays out in the race is another question. But if he does get through, he'll be knocking out Dylan Hartley. Dylan Hartley, obviously, coming off the back of some very strong races. So we'll have to see whether this lap is valid or not. And I really don't know whether it is because he's looking very quick at the moment.
Yeah, he's pushing as if he hasn't. Maybe the teams are a little bit skeptical about whether it's gone through as well. We remove the doubt coming towards the finish line, and he crosses the finish line, but I don't think he got the lap in.
No, he stays P11.
Staying P11. That is a killer for you, missing out by 1 second.
Yeah, definitely so close. Obviously, we've seen before that drivers have actually gotten to the line much quicker than we had expected, but not for the Haas driver today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in qualifying 3. Ladies and gentlemen, you join us once again for the start of the qualifying 3 session, the almighty and important race. Sorry about the a little bit of glitch there coming through into the session, and we stay in the pit lane. Earlier this race, we saw Jay Robinson last session getting eliminated, and by the barest of margins, it really was. And Jay had something to say about the little situation that went on. The Racing Point, sorry, not Racing Point, the Alpha Tauri garage have sent us the team radio.
What is this FIA bullshit turning EBS off? It's a disgrace.
Not fair, he says. Not fair. It's a disgrace. Passionate words there from Jay Robinson. Do you think that's affected his race much?
Well, considering he's, by the sounds of it, hasn't not used ABS before, I imagine it has very much hampered his qualifying session. Obviously, starting P14 tomorrow, dependent on any penalties any drivers may incur in the Q3 session. But yeah, it's obviously really affected him today, which is a shame. Obviously, I mentioned about adapting their driving style, but it's incredibly hard to do in a very short session. So yeah, a real unfortunate situation for him by the sounds of it. But starting P14, there's still hope. Only 4 positions outside of that point. He's got to get this issue out of his mind now and focus on the race.
Yeah, I mean, his teammate is definitely in a strong position. He's on board with him before. He isn't the greatest, from my knowledge, with ABS off, but he's putting some good times. P4 we did see on the medium tyres in the qualifying 1 session, so strong times from the AlphaTauri driver.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, got through to Q3 by it was very close between him and the house driver Matthew Widdowson. Obviously, Matthew Widdowson losing out by the barest of margins, but Dylan Hartley nevertheless up into Q3 three, the weather has miraculously changed again. Obviously, as you said, France is known for that, and we're back to those lovely views of a very, very sunny circuit.
Yeah, just what do you think about Andre Abreu? He got blocked a couple times apparently on that. Do you think he'll get blocked again, or do you think he can put it on pole? He's done it. Well, he's put himself in P2 once before. Can he do it again?
We've seen Andre Abreu and that Williams be very, very strong in the wet conditions. Obviously, we're seeing at the moment, obviously, very much subject to change. At the moment, the track's very nice and sunny. So whether or not he can um, propel himself up from P9 at the moment, we'll have to see. Obviously, he's capable of it. Just we've seen that very, very strong side of him come out in the wet conditions.
Right.
So we'll have to see.
Chapman, once again, 128.5. Is that quick round here, do you reckon?
I think it's pretty similar to the time that Joel Fox will set in Q1, if I remember correctly. I can clarify that. It was actually 2/10 slower than what Joel set in Q1. So obviously Joel can go much faster than that by about 2/10. So it's all about Joel now getting that clean lap time in. I'm not sure whether this ABS is also affecting Max Chapman as well. I think it probably is.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, whenever anybody seems to improve their lap on the second lap that they go out, it's never by a couple tenths. It's always a significant margin. It's 5 or 6 tenths every time. And Chapman is going to need that if he wants to beat Joel Foxall on a good day.
Definitely, considering this is Q3, the drivers are going to be giving it everything now. And him to be 2/10 slower than a Q1 time, almost 3/10 is unfortunate for him. But Max Chapman is incredibly strong around this track. As we said at the start of the show, the top 200 in the whole world, let alone the league. So I think there could be more inside of Max Chapman today. Maybe he's just not feeling it with the current track conditions.
Remember, that's top 200 with ABS on, and today, today that they're testing the track, and I can't believe it. For the first time in the league, Titan and Chapman have matched each other's times.
Yeah, that is incredibly close. Obviously, very, very close.
It's down
between
to the T. There's no time in between them.
No, that's crazy. That really is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've got no words. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
taking my words away. Yeah, it really is. So close between Titan and Chapman. So it's all about now who can get the who can gain more time on the second run.
Right, go ahead and talk us through Joel Foxall. He's approaching through Sector 2, and how would you prepare for this hot lap?
Well, considering the time that Max Chapman and Titan have just set, the exact same time, and considering he did 2/10 quicker in Q1, he knows that he can get pole today. This will be potentially his first pole lap in the league, so this is really all on his shoulders now. That pressure hopefully won't get to him too much as he approaches the final sector, this turn 11 hairpin. Obviously, still on his outlap, trying to get those tires warmed up as he approaches the fastest, his flying lap, which could potentially be today's pole time. We'll have to see whether that plays out for him. Obviously, that pressure, as I said earlier, could potentially get to him. He's a very level-headed guy, and I'm sure he's just going to be focusing on this lap now. Nothing's going to get to him. This could be our pole lap for today. We'll have to see. And hopefully it will be close between the top runners again, but hopefully not the same time because, well, it's just so close that one driver will inevitably lose out because of them being the same time. But Joel Foxall has started his fastest lap. We'll have to see what he can do.
I'm sorry to interrupt you here, Sam, but we've got a team radio here from the Alfa Romeo garage.
He's got the exact same time as me.
Yeah, copied to the Delta, 0/10ths faster. We need you to go scenario 7 for the next lap, scenario 7 next lap.
Going to be pushing for that. He's on his outlap. We go on board with Max Chapman now. He comes through the final couple sectors, and he is going to be pushing for that pole position.
Yeah, definitely. As you heard there, the team engineer and the driver chatter over the radio, they are surprised as we are, obviously, with the exact same time. You don't see that too often. We've never seen it in the league before, but Max Chapman is going to be pushing as hard as he can now, and he knows that Joel got that faster lap time in Q1, so he's going to aim for that and hopefully even faster.
I mean, I think, technically speaking, even though the leaderboard says it's 1-2 Titan Chapman, but I think, technically speaking, alphabetically, it would be Chapman because C becomes before T. I'm not sure actually what happens in that scenario, and I think Chapman would get it, but down in P2, we're on board with Chapman. Go ahead and talk us through his lap time.
Chapman, obviously, as you said, is approaches the start-finish line. I'm looking at Joel Foxall's time at the moment. Has he invalidated, actually? No, he's not. He goes P1 by 7 thousandths of a second. I know I was meant to be commentating on Max Chapman's lap, but that is quite crucial as he approaches turn 3 and turn 4. A tricky corner, obviously, getting onto that power is the main goal, but it's very, very hard to do and easy to do, especially considering he's on a much lower traction setting and he spins coming around turn 6, just as I was mentioning that.
Unlucky there for Chapman. He got fastest sector 1 by about 4 tenths there. He would have been decidedly in P1, and yeah, 7 thousandths behind is Titan and Chapman. Chapman has enough time for one more lap if he gets in there quickly, but his teammate is down in P8. He's also going to need to improve.
Yeah, definitely.
Big time.
Max Chapman is going to have to go around another time to beat that, but we know now that he set that fastest that fastest sector 1 by 4 tenths, as you said. That's a huge margin. So it's obviously inside of him. He's just got to get that clean lap and potentially strikingly still on that lower traction setting, but he knows he's got that incredibly fast time inside of him. He's just got to get it out.
I think Chapman is definitely prepared for the race. Like we said, the FI are only testing it in the first qualifying session. Oh, sorry, not the first qualifying session, but in the qualifying session, the first event of the weekend. They're not running it during the race, which is going to be so advantageous to the drivers who are so much struggling with it now. And Joel Foxall is into the pits. Yellow flag in sector 3 because of Andre, who's stowed down. He is going to be really, really struggling. He's been 3 laps out on those soft tyres. They're going to be screaming to go into the pits. But nonetheless, he's going to try and get better than he can. He's in P4 right now. He's going to be struggling to improve. There's, remember, only 7 thousandths between P1 and P2 currently. And the P2 is on an outlap.
Yeah, definitely. Andre in P4, a good time from him, just 600ths of the current P1 time. He's been knocked down to P5 just now by Robbie Welsh in that Renault, but still a really good effort from him. Max Chapman is obviously on his fastest lap. He's not improved on his first sector time, I don't believe, but still a very strong sector 1. By the looks of it, retaining that purple sector at the moment. No other driver has beaten that. He's just got to keep this fast time going through the lap. As I think we're riding on board with a Ferrari driver.
Yeah, we have been advised that he needs to pull over and stop for 10 seconds because, I don't know if you saw, as we went on board with him, he cut the Sector 2, Sector 3 chicane, and in order to get the lap. So he's been ordered by the race stewards to slow down for 10 seconds. We see him doing that here. That may compromise his lap, but obviously that's the own doing of the driver down in P10. Is driving number 28, again, coming through the middle sector, is going to be really tricky for him. And what do you think Max Chapman can do? He's now on his hot lap and his flying lap, and we've said it before, we've said it again. Chapman, 3 tenths improved. Joel has to beat him. We've said he can beat him. He has to do it now.
Yeah, definitely. Max Chapman has managed to get that much faster time in, and he has improved by about 4 tenths, just under 4 tenths. So really good stuff from him. Just looking at the Q1 section time from Joel was a 1:28.395. So even faster than that Q1 time. So really good stuff from Max. It's all down to Joel now to seal that from Max. I think this is his best opportunity for pole thus far in the league.
He's got 20 seconds to get to the line. It's going to be really tight for Joel.
It's going to be really close. I do really hope he can get to the line. This is going to be a really close battle. He comes through turn 12. I don't think there's enough time.
Well, I mean, he's got to push it. There's 4 seconds on my clock, but I don't know if that is what it is. He's trying to cut the crack as much as he can coming around the final turn. It definitely isn't enough. Joel is out of this race, but unluckily for him, he could have made it to the line, and he could have been so close. Chapman is on pole. Good stuff from him to recover it from the unfortunate event, which him losing 4 tenths. Titan down in P5, we're on board with him through Sector 2. He's invalidated his lap. He's not going to be able to get another lap. In P7 is Hartley. He is not going for a push lap. He is staying there. Casper Meach behind him. He's set a purple Sector 1, but a slower Sector 2. He's set 2 tenths behind that. I'd put him in P3, coming through the final sector. He's down now into turn 11, turn 12 here. Really difficult braking zone for this driver. He's going to be running really wide. That's going to compromise his exit. Got to get on the power as late as you can there if you are spinning, losing your rear end. But Casper Meach again locking up down here into turn 14. Down into the tricky braking turn 15. Huge lock up there onto the pit straight. He's going to get back onto the track as soon as he can. Down the final pit straight. He is going to come and put himself into the 8th position. Unfortunately, the middle and final sectors just compromised his lap too much, and down in P9, they're not improving either. So that is your grid, with Max Chapman once again on pole position.
Oh. Hello?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And after that very eventful qualifying session, we're here with Casper and Max, the two people we heard on the team radio about being exactly matched to the Ferrari's pace. Does that scare you at all? That, well, to 1,000th of a second, within 0.000, you were exactly the same time as the Ferrari. What does that mean to you?
It means that we got a bit of competition tomorrow in the on Sunday on the race. With a lot of people the same speed as us, so it's going to be a bit of a fight in the race, I think, with different strategies that people are using as well.
Casper?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Max do the talking on track. He's obviously got the pace, and just because ABS was off, I know it compromised him a little bit, but still pulled out a pole. Absolute brilliant qualifying from him, almost by 2 tenths. Yeah, no doubt in my mind, he can definitely pull away from the pack.
We've heard a few of the drivers on track today be very vocal to the FAA on why they actually turned the ABS off. Obviously, we all know that it was to do with some sort of test for the new Pirelli tyres that we'll be trying next season, how they wear under flat spots. But the FIA had to turn that off. But some other drivers have been vocal about that. What do you think about that, Max?
I mean, I don't really mind it, but it definitely did compromise me a lot. Yeah, I think other drivers should I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's a hard assist to get used to. Let's say that. But if it's used for next season for flat spots, we're gonna have to get used to it, I guess.
And does it bring the field apart, Casper? Do you think that by having a race engineer and being there for the two drivers that are under your control, does that mean that you're going to have a better grip of things in terms of tyre wear and flat spots if ABS does come into use?
Absolutely. I think that having a race engineer that can monitor tyre wear, tyre temperatures, pressures, everything at once without the drivers really needing to take their eyes off the road and just concentrate on the battles. It's a great advantage to have, especially with the tyre wear now coming into effect. France is a very tyre wear heavy track, so it's important to box up right times, have the delta, or you'll lose a lot of time if you box one lap after.
Last week we saw your last pit stop actually compromising Max's win, but was it for the greater good? Was it to get both your drivers up there battling for the points, both of them now equal on 106 points?
We just started on the wrong compound tyre. We could have switched on the second stint to the soft, so the safety cars just came out the wrong time. There was really nothing we could have done. Max finished the race on like 70% tyre wear anyways. So if we boxed him on the first safety car, his tyres would have been shredded at the end. So just unlucky timing with the safety car, I guess.
How's your strategy going to play out this weekend? We saw you qualify in the mediums. Is it a medium hard or a medium soft or potentially a two-stopper to throw things into the mix?
I think it's
We're expecting, we're expecting a medium hard this race. Obviously high wear track again, France here. You've got the softs that die quite quickly around here, so you really want to only apply them near the end of the race. And the safety car chances coming out here are very low. All the barriers are quite far away from the track, so there shouldn't really be any safety cars coming out this weekend.
Well, if there is a safety car, it's definitely going to be the pit straight. And we saw some people losing their rear end, and one of those people was you, Max. And was that because you've been trialing with the traction control off?
Yes, it was. I was just trying to get used to it for this weekend because I found out it was a lot quicker. It helped me during my time trial, so I was like, let me have a go in the qualifying as well. I was I was I was doubting myself at first in the first run. I was a little bit slow, and then the second run, it all just came together. To be honest.
Well, I mean, you got pole decisively, 3/10, 3.5, I think it was, in the end. And you'll go explore the possibilities that you can now do from pole. Obviously, you're our most seasoned pole sitter, and I'm sure, definitely, at least one of the drivers there will be able to convert that into some sort of podium. Thank you thank you very much, Max. Thank you very much, Casper, and very much of the best luck for you tomorrow or Sunday.
Thank you.
One driver we are going to go talk to is Andre here in the Red Bull garage, and obviously he has had a difficult time coming into the sport, and obviously with him being the replacement driver for Casper, who we just talked about. And Andre, how has that affected you so far? How do you feel you have been coming into the league?
I think the race at Canada was pretty okay. I'm not the happiest with the last lap incident where I lost my front wing, but it is what it is, and I think I finished pretty well for my first race. And now with qualifying, I made a mistake with the tires where I think I've used one set of softs too much, which I didn't really realize where I can have two sets of softs in Q3. So I had basically one chance to really set my fastest lap, and I didn't really do that. And I basically my tires died on the first lap in Q3, so my second lap wasn't really that much better. And I was on old soft, so that I just couldn't get more than P10 out of there because in Q2 I had a much better time. I was second faster, I think, because I had two chances really on two different sets. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start on the softs, which I haven't really looked into it, but I think it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, for safety car maybe, but we have to see about. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Maybe try out the hards, but we'll have to see.
Q3 for the first time for you today, and how will that affect your confidence going into tomorrow? Obviously, you are only a reserve driver. Could we expect to see more from you in the future?
I think I'm pretty happy with Q3, even if it's P10. I don't really mind because, well, it's still Q3, and I think um, it's just I hope I can drive more, and I think I'm having more chances if I really do my best and get all out of it, and I'm pretty happy with my Q3 today, and yeah,
Right. Well, thanks for your contribution, Andre, and we hope to see you have an amazing race.
no problem. Thank you guys.
And yeah, Sam, what do you think can happen on Sunday? I mean, it's a race of many tales that's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think strategy is going to play into it, as it always does. We definitely saw that in Canada as well, with lots of different strategies occurring. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good one on Sunday. I think you should all come and watch it. I really do hope you enjoyed that qualifying session. Obviously, spiced up a bit with that ABS thing that was being trialed out. But on Sunday, it will all go back to normal, everyone on their usual assists.
Yeah, so, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough from us today, but we'll see you on Sunday. See you later, guys.